trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is NODE
No.
Market.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots, ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. NodeMarket.io.
It's a smile to your eye, doesn't it?
My eyes got a smile in it. I still wish we could have gotten those. I mean, when I play Population 1, they have a bunch of winter maps, which are badass, by the way, because it's like you're playing like they have those claymation, these maps with like reindeer and those little weird, and then you're like shooting people.
I know. I know. It's
awesome.
Claymation critters.
But like,
I don't
you're
like
having
the
war
winter landscape though, because winter's brutal.
Well, that's only because you live in it, buddy.
You love the scenery until you have to live in it. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. You like watching movies where everybody dies until you're in one of those movies where everybody dies. You're like, oh,
yeah, and you're like, shit. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I'm one of the everyone.
This is real life, and so.
And then you're like, wait a minute. I have one of the common guy shirts. That means I'm not an important enough character to make it. Dang it!
I'm not gonna make it to the end.
I'm not gonna make it. Okay,
I'm not John Wick.
Do we have any housekeeping we need to knock out other than just the numbers for the Node NFTs and the twin tokens?
Well, no, not necessarily. We might. Oh, I have a ton of stuff to go over when we get behind the wall. This is some cool stuff on like fetch and some other things. So as soon as we get behind the wall, you guys are going to be treated to some good information and some tools that I found.
Did you see? Man, we won't do market stuff just yet, but did you see Graph token? It's 17 cents.
Yeah, I saw Graph. It's up a good chunk.
Did you see Algorand last night? 24 cents.
What? I didn't.
For the dumpster fire that is Algorand.
Yes.
Well, you can't.
18 cents. What?
Yeah, don't take any of it too seriously. This is pre-ETF pumpy smarmy bullshit, and you're seeing all sorts. You're seeing even real garbage is going straight up. So
yeah,
this is what
Ethereum. Ethereum's up 5%. That's real garbage.
Well, Solana is up 8%.
Solana was up like 20% this week. 26% this week.
But off of just NFTs and bonk coin and stupid shit like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not a hater. I'm glad that everything's going up because I don't care. As long as quality is going up too, that's fine. And also remember, the dumpstery stuff is going to go up more. Those are more vigilant communities. Those are usually more pumpy dumpy. I'm entitled. I showed up 4 minutes ago. I got to catch up communities. Those people spam, man. It's the same reason why people get way over leveraged. I guarantee you right now, every time Bitcoin touches 44K, a bunch of dummies come in and they take huge leverage. It's going to 50. Yeah, it is going to 50, but not tomorrow, dummy. Like, and then it goes down $2 and they all get nuked. And then the people go, it's below 44. It's going to 20. No, it's not. Like every time, man, every time. And it's just pure gambling. And so you have to remember that any bull market is 90% gambling, 10% quality. So you're going to see other assets, really garbage, trash assets, just go straight up. But what you want to make sure that you're not like, oh man, I'm getting left behind. No, you're not. Just you manage your portfolio with quality. You will end up winning, even if it doesn't seem like it in the moment, right? Don't follow this candlestick like I could have had that. No, you couldn't. You couldn't have had every single winning token. You only have 100% to give. So there's some flawed thinking that, we have to keep ourselves in check when things start going up and don't get this idea that I'm supposed to own everything. Nope. No.
Well, maybe. Maybe. No,
let's see.
no, no.
Oh, I'm sending out hypercycle as soon as I have. I mean, as soon as we got back, it got really low last night. Ethereum gas fees for whatever reason.
Yeah, under 30. It hasn't been under 30 in like a month. I'm not kidding. I've been watching it like a hawk.
So if for all of you private clients that have because 23rd is when we do the hypercycle, and I think 23rd we send out hypercycle, 25th we send out Sophiaverse. So the second it gets low, I may knock out all those at once. So I'm just waiting, even if it's today or tomorrow, whatever. If it gets into the like low 30s, I'm going to just start firing off those payments. Even if I have to put, even if I have to I'll use some of my tokens just to get it done, because you got to take advantage of those low Ethereum fees. The difference was I was doing transactions for like $4 to $6 last time. Right now they're like 7 to 15. So it's more.
Yeah, it's more.
Yeah.
And
okay. So yeah, we'll look at that kind of stuff. I'm gonna cover something before we go behind the wall. Also, we have some cool AI news as well. Check to see what the fee was to claim the NFT reward. Oh, the fee was $546. That's not right.
No, that's what I've told this, reiterated this 1,000 times. The claim's not available because we took it down. You can't even claim it. Like, it's not even available.
You can't claim. They're cleaning all that stuff up. So
So Frank, you can't claim it right now. We're cleaning that contract up.
Yeah. So don't spend $500 to get 12. Okay. So I'm gonna explain. Hey, Emmanuel, what's up? I'm going to explain the cash create system because a lot of people are still confused. They're like, you guys know there was an SEC conference call yesterday. You guys know about that. You know about that, right, Brandon?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all over the news.
So, I mean, it seems pretty obvious. This is absolutely happening. Coinbase does not offer Arweave. No, they don't. I got it on KuCoin, and then I transferred it over to Bitrue because Bitrue they pay you, it's 5%. That's like their marketing thing. It's not really staking. They call it like Power Piggy or whatever, which is kind of a stupid name, but they pay you 5%. So I'm making 5%, and then I just do every week I reinvest my Arweave. There is an Arweave wallet, which when it becomes any kind of amount of money that's significant, then I'll pull it out of that Bitrue situation and go put it on that wallet. Okay, let's see. We're almost there. We did it. All right, 448 on the so 448 out of 1,000 digital investors, because we locked it's 1,000. That's it. That's how many. And it's not bad. We've only been going since late August. So we're August, September, October, November, December. So we're 5 months in. We're 5 months in, and we're almost 50% there. We're at 54, and I think we'll have number 55 will be coming here in a few days, I think, for digital private clients. Again, out of 100. Then NODE Market NFTs, we're at 1,600 as we speak, which makes the distribution 6,250 twin tokens per NODE NFT, meaning when this happens here in a few days, we will have a little. Brandon, how's that going to look? People will log in and they'll have their total allocation, right?
Yeah. So as soon as they log in, they'll go to their dash. I think it's going to be on this page, or maybe on the dashboard. They'll have a link to go fill out a form. That form will have a series of questions for you to go through.
An exam.
And it basically will go through. Yeah, it kind of walks through what Twin is, and then you'll give me your wallet. That'll go to a spreadsheet that I'll have that I'll double check. I'll check that spreadsheet, make sure that you have the correct amount of NFTs. After you fill out that form, you can then send the USDC to the address listed on the form. It's going to be very simple. You'll send it. If it's wrong, I'll send the USDC back minus the fees. If it's right, then we'll be good to go. And then we'll drop your twin tokens to you as soon as they are available to us.
Yeah, so that's going to start on Christmas Day. We'll run it for a week.
Yeah, I keep getting emails asking where it is, but I think we've said this Christmas Day, right? Like I'll
Christmas
put it up
Day.
on Christmas.
It'll be up on Christmas Day, and then you can get as much of your allocation as you want, or none of it, or all of it, or whatever. And then we will be sending those tokens out sometime, maybe the first week of January. Because we're still waiting for Singularity DAO to do their little bit. I mean, we could spin the token up ourselves.
We'll just let them do it. That way it's 100% them.
Yeah.
There's no.
But yeah, they're setting it up so that you'll have a way where once they do the TGE, which I should know more this morning because I have a meeting with their team at 10:30. Once they do their TGE, which I guess can be late January or whatever. Well, whenever they get to it, 1 month later from the anniversary date, you'll be able to swap one for one the twin, the node twin for the twin. Same token, whatever. All right, cool.
How about this? So on this website, so we'll put it I'll put it everywhere. I'll email it out. I'll put it on this website. I'll put it on I'll put it everywhere. You won't be able to miss this form.
You won't be able to miss it.
So when it's available, it's available. I know there's a lot of confusion sometimes, but I just.
So you want to bang through the AI news real quick?
Yeah.
It's good. Some cool stuff. Looks like Apple's joining the party.
Oh, you see some of those Solana phones selling for like 20 grand.
People are so stupid.
That's like, here's the thing. When you buy Bonk token, right? At least you have a chance-ish, right? That's a gambling chance. But you're buying these phones for 20 grand. That's flushing money down the toilet. Because
they don't understand. I think
there's
people
no market for those as soon as this thing dies down, right?
Well, and the Bonk token already dipped 50% like in one night.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so that was people inevitable. Like, oh, but the phone gets you tokens. Yeah, but the phone gets you $300 worth of tokens, bro. Not $300 worth of Bonk. 1,000. Like, yeah, but you gotta have the phone to get the airdrops. No, you don't. You just have to have a wallet. Like, man, people be stupid as hell. Anyway.
Which, by the way, if we are talking about that, the Phantom wallet is actually doing pretty well. Good job for them. They've integrated. Now you can hold Ethereum, you can hold Solana, you can hold something else, and then they just add a Bitcoin all to the same wallet.
Well, multi-asset wallets. I mean, I don't think there's any. The magic is not multi-asset wallets. The magic is multi-asset wallets with bridges.
No, there's a bridge in the wallet.
Yeah, and you know how much you get hammered if you try to cross it?
4%.
I mean,
no, it's brutal. Yeah, no, it doesn't need to be a bridge. It needs to be an instant wrapper, like you've talked about before. When we've talked.
There needs to be a wrap.
No bridge. It's just in there. Like, I don't care what you send. It's in there, and it says WBTC if it wasn't sent from the Bitcoin network. You know.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because then you need these ancillary markets. That's something they still. I know that everybody's working on that, and that is one thing that crypto has not nailed, and they need to nail because it's a big deal. Anyway, God, I hope eventually these multi-asset wallets will be real multi-asset wallets. But it's kind of like looking in your real wallet, like when you go to Mexico and you have a bunch of pesos and then you have a bunch of dollars. But you know what?
True.
They'll take both.
But they won't. Yeah, you don't lose the pesos once they hop into the wallet. They're not gone forever. They're in.
It's like when you move your thumb from the dollars to the pesos, 4% disappears. What the shit? What happened? You moved your thumb. Yeah, but I was just going from.
Yeah, you swipe it back and forth a few times, and it's all gone. It's gone. Like a magic trick. It's like, oh, that's gone.
Oh, shit. Okay. Apple researchers explore AI phone integrations, and so basically, they've been publishing some research. Everybody knows Apple's been real slow to this, like real slow. So Apple's research demonstrates transformative techniques to run advanced AI on phones, from assistants to 3D avatars, potentially large language models and large multimodal models, but probably some kind of mezcla of all of that. And so they did a bunch of papers they released. One was focusing on the efficiently generating animated human avatars, which, okay, cool. I don't know if that's the most important use case for this, but whatever. From iPhone videos with photorealism and speed greatly improved over existing methods. This is going to help people eventually have full dexterity in AI avatars. Don't just think like, cartoons and stuff, but like the real, like an actual you that's photorealistic kind of participating. That would be pretty cool. So that's kind of neat. And they've improved the speed on that kind of stuff, at least in this paper. Another paper that they released details streamlining bulky large language models using flash storage optimization, which enables complex applications like chatbots to run on mobile devices, meaning you're running it on your local device, not making API calls every millisecond. And so that's really important from a speed perspective, and also a way to silo or gate your own interactions, where you're not communicating with web world all the time. Sometimes you're just communicating with your device. So that's kind of cool. So they've been really late to the AI thing, but it's a good chance. This is another reason, Brandon, do you remember when we were at the Grove and we were in the Apple store and we were talking about how come this new iPhone is like no different than the old iPhone that I was holding? And we're like, shit. Well, they had planned a bunch of upgrades and updates and they didn't. They punted it. And I'm wondering the only reason I can see is that they punted all of this stuff to the next iPhone because they weren't ready to have an AI-based kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. Seems like they have plans, but they also punted, the wearable device was supposed to come, and that's been, who knows where that thing is. I don't know if it's shelved. I don't know what's going on. The Vision Pro, anybody get theirs? It was supposed to come out in October, and then November, and then December. Anybody get theirs yet? No. Anyway, they're doing a lot of AI hiring, so that's good. Unrelated to AI news. Is there anybody here that's that listened to Bad Radio with Dan and Jake and all those guys in the Dallas area? They have 14 million listeners. 14 million. Anyway, they do sports radio and stuff like that. So they're going to be launching a new gig. Dan's a friend of mine, and
14 million for a radio show.
Dude, they're great. They're really funny and kind of snarky. I've been on their show, I don't know, maybe half dozen times. Anyway, we're going to start that up again. They're doing their own thing. I'll get you guys information. It's unrelated to money and all that. It's just fun. It's like a fun show to listen to, and those guys are kind of funny. And I don't think they curse as much as they probably should. I try to I give them constructive criticism. They don't seem to be taking it, but they're doing their own show, and that's going to be launching here in a few. There was this big giant legal battle about how they left, but anyway, they're launching their own thing here in a few weeks. It's like I think mid-January. So anyway, I'll get you guys more information on that. If you just want something to let your brain like cool down. Anyway. I talked to Dan yesterday. They're very excited. All right. Okay. Continue with the AI news. So basically, while it seems like Apple has lagged, well, it doesn't seem like they have lagged behind the AI race. They're releasing these papers is them signaling, I think, right? Like they didn't just give them to 6 executives at Apple. They publicly displayed these research reports, which, what does that tell you, Brandon?
They're way behind.
No, that's not what it tells you. We already know that.
It tells me they're way behind.
I think that they are prepping. I think they're kind of not. They're signaling to the markets that this next, of course, it's going to be next September, but that the next iPhone that comes out is going to be AI powered. I think.
Yeah, and it's going to be way behind. That's all I'm getting is they're stuck. They're integrating the technology now, and by the time it rolls out, they're still going to be integrating the technology that was today's technology, and by the time it rolls out, it's still going to be 6 months late.
There's a thing called Freedom GPT, which is an uncensored AI app store. Oh, also unrelated. Did you see that the government they've exhausted all appeals on the government's reclamation of how many 60,000 Bitcoin or something like that from the original Silk Road? They finally exhausted those people have exhausted all their appeals. The government now actually has those tokens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
that's a whopper, dude. The government made
they got skin in the game.
They've made more money off that They made more money off Silk Road than they've made on any other government project ever. Like ever.
60,000 times 44,000.
Anyway, you can get one-click access to uncensored large language models, text-to-image, text-to-video AI, the porny, texty, porny, unclothing shit, any of that kind of like. Anyway, it's called Freedom GPT. It's got 2 million users. 2 million. You know, like 1.9 million of them are just, take the clothes off of Scarlett Johansson. So somebody was, I tell you, I got an argument, not an argument, but I was explaining it. Someone's like, it could never show me naked. I have a birthmark. No one, it would never know. I'm like, it doesn't, people on the internet don't care about your birthmark, stupid. They just want to see people naked. The version of you without a birthmark is so not, it's still naked, bro. God. Anyway.
That's crazy.
Anyway, but on some of the stuff, you can basically switch between a bunch of AI models. There's no cap on response length, prompt frequency, meaning like that's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm not going to give you a link because we don't do that link thing, but check out Freedom GPT, and probably also know that you're going to be on some anti-AI watch list or some shit like that. So be very careful. And finally, in AI news, I mean, there's a lot of AI news, but the other thing I thought was cool, Chat GPT competitor Anthropic is in talks to raise an additional $750 million in a funding round led by Menlo Park Ventures, positioning itself as a formidable competitor to or in the AI industry. The new round brings their pre-funding valuation to $18.4 billion.
With a B.
That's a damn load. Whatever happened to the MT Gox people? Good question. Everybody's still trying to figure out when they're doing those distributions. Remember, about 90% of the MT Gox claimants decided to take cash.
Right?
They opted for cash. Now, what happened is a few years ago, when they said they would take cash, it was based on that at that time price of Bitcoin. And so a lot of these hedge funds and private investors came in and bought those claims because they basically got it at a discount. So they funded those transactions. So there's not a bunch
left. IOUs. They basically bought all the IOUs.
Yeah,
right?
there's not a bunch left to do, really. Yeah, so there you go. Let's see. You can drop some more NFT node licenses soon.
Those are all dropped, Neil.
Damn you, Neil.
Well, are we talking about the placeholders, the actual licenses? Go check your hidden folder, please, Neil.
Check your hidden folder, buddy.
I think with the exception of 6 at the very bottom of the list. Let me see if Neil's on it. Hold on.
Anyway, just to put a button on the Anthropic news, they're looking for more money, $750 million that bring them up to 18.4 billion. And Claude is badass. Claude 2 is dope. I'm just so used to using GPT-4 on my phone, and I do most of my stuff on my phone while having coffee and all that. So anyway, Google and Amazon have already committed 2 and 4 billion each, respectively, to Anthropic over time, and they're doing this like very aggressive funding effort. And they have a bunch of, I mean, obviously Google and Amazon, high-profile backing. And isn't it interesting that Google is backing Anthropic so heavily? You think that they are worried that they may not be able to get it done on their own, and they're just like hedging their bet? Maybe. Anyway, 18.4 billion ain't nothing. It's not nothing. It is not nothing. It is not.
It's nothing.
Nothing. And yeah, so and they're really, I mean, Claude's really the only real competitor to GPT-4. So there we go. Okay, so that's that news. There is other AI news. There's a lot of cool medical stuff as far as antibiotics research, and brain synaptic translators, and also, I mean, the kind of stuff that will scare you to never sleeping again. So I'm not going to go over that. But what I will go over right before we go behind the wall, just to spend a few minutes, is that there have been meetings. And yesterday there was a conference call. And again, just quick pretext.
They're meeting every day. They could have emailed.
They're meeting every day, but this was a conference call with all the current applicants.
Dang.
So, I mean, I think at this point, it's pretty damn obvious that this ETF is coming. And the 10th, why everybody says the 10th? Well, the 10th is the date where if the SEC hasn't at least answered a lot of these queries, these applications, these filings, then they are going to go to court again by about 25 different entities. They're going to get so sued that Gary Gensler is going to just change his name to Sue. A boy named Sue will be Gary. Gary will be a boy named Sue, only not near the badass. And so, and a lot of it was that the SEC is saying, I think if you can read the tea leaves, they're basically saying, we want this cash create model. You say cash create, what the crap? So basically, this is what it means. So when you're not talking to people over the holidays, because we all agreed not, matter of fact, I want everybody, there's 255 people here. I want Sue Gensler. That's funny. It's double entendre, which is why it's funny. I want everybody here that it can touch your computer thing to say you will not talk crypto over Christmas. Go on then. Let's see it. And now I'll regale you with this story.
No, I'm going to talk crypto over Christmas.
You better not talk crypto. You ain't talking shit.
I ain't talking about crypto. A lose-lose. It ends up being a lose-lose.
Howard's not going to talk about Crypto. BlackRock, Kathy Woods, ARK, Wisdom Tree. These are all spot BTF applicants to revise their filings. And my guess is in the coming days after yesterday's meeting with the SEC, with a lot of these, you're going to get a bunch more revised S1s. So basically a bunch of applicants for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which is the exchange traded fund in the United States, are amending their filings to comply with the cash redemption or the cash create model. You're going to hear this over and over. There's two basic formats. There's the in-kind creation and cash create. Cash create is what the SEC wants. So I'll explain that a little bit more. So anyway, they have all updated, and I say they, BlackRock, ARK Investments, I think Fidelity, Wisdom Tree, Bitwise, they have all come forward and updated their S1 registration statements for a spot Bitcoin ETF with the SEC. And the S1 amendments relate to the cash creation and redemption model for the proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs, with BlackRock and ARK accepting the cash redemption system rather than in-kind redemptions. You're like, still confused. Got you. Don't worry. This means it implies non-monetary payments like Bitcoin. What the SEC is claiming, and it's a little wonky, but they're claiming that they don't want this to be a vehicle for money laundering, which is just some more Elizabeth Warren bullshit. We all know that, but whatever it takes to get across the finish line. ARK's registration statement hinted that the ARK 21 shares Bitcoin ETF would only allow cash creations and redemptions. The document mentioned potential in-kind creation and redemption of shares, stating that the ETF may also permit authorized participants to create and redeem shares of the ETF, in-kind transactions, subject to regulatory approval. And for those of you that are super nerdy, you realize that the way it worked with Grayscale with their trust, which they're trying to convert to an ETF also, is that you could put cash in to buy shares. You could also deposit Bitcoin, but you could only exit with shares, meaning selling back to cash. So it was it was in-kind and cash creation, but only cash exit, right, for redemption. So anyway, BlackRock filed a similar update stressing that in-kind transactions may take place, but only subject to regulatory approval. And this is where the SEC is saying, no, the regulatory approval that you're going to get is that it's got to be cash. And these transactions will take place in exchange for cash. And so their ETF S1 amendment, this is BlackRock, was subject to NASDAQ stock market receiving the necessary regulatory approval to permit the trust to create and redeem shares in kind for Bitcoin. These transactions may also take place in exchange for Bitcoin. But that's where Gary's pushing back and saying, no, we don't want in kind. In kind means Bitcoin for Bitcoin ETF. No, they don't want that. According to some douchebags at Bloomberg, ARK and its ETF did not want to do cash creations and even worked out a creative alternative method to do in-kind redemptions. So if, and this is quoting, so if they surrender, it tells you the SEC is not budging. I think that's what yesterday's call was about. I think the SEC said it's either cash create or you guys can go stick it. We're not pushing you across the finish line. So that's why they amended their filings, looks like. And I think everybody else is going to come. So basically the SEC's cash only requirement means that the authorized participants will only be able to obtain more shares of the ETF by bringing the appropriate amount of cash to the table, not offering up Bitcoin. Now, there's another article that said that the spot Bitcoin ETF will be a bloodbath for crypto exchanges. We're really getting into the weeds. I think that's getting a little bit too far into the future, but because the supply of Bitcoin is going to become quite anemic. Anyway, some funds allow in-kind creations as well. So for in-kind creations, the authorized participants, so you're going to see this term come up again, a lot of APs. They bring the asset that the ETF tracks and exchange it for ETF shares, meaning like if it was a gold ETF, they would bring gold and exchange it for gold ETF shares. But the SEC is not keen on allowing this for spot Bitcoin ETFs. The SEC's position is somewhat understandable. It will make it clear where the ETF gets its underlying Bitcoin from. The ETF will buy them, presumably from reputable exchanges, whereas if you allowed in-kind transfers, you wouldn't be able to know where the Bitcoin transfer came from. So you can kind of see what they're saying. They're saying it's not confusing. It's the legal part of it's kind of confusing, I guess. But they're basically saying if people can just float on in with Bitcoin, we don't know where that Bitcoin came from. Well, it could be Silk Road Bitcoin. It could be Mt. Gox or stolen or whatever. Whereas if they have to come in with cash from an exchange, they've been KYC, they've been verified, they've been vetted. If they're an institutional investor, they've gone through this whole process. It's less likely that it's a bunch of scammy money. So I guess that's the main takeaway is that, and on this, I'm not so sure I disagree, right? Like you don't know where this stuff's coming from. What if it's like, I mean, this North Korean hackers, not to knock them, good for them. I don't want them to steal my shit, but they've stolen a lot of Bitcoin. What if North Korean hackers come in and take their stolen Bitcoin and just join the ETF party? Just to stick it to us. So I don't know, man. I guess I'm not on this one thing. I'm not so much against this idea that if you want to get into this Bitcoin ETF, you need to buy into it rather than now the institutions that are doing this, that the ETF providers, they will then have to purchase Bitcoin. They will take that cash and purchase Bitcoin. Does that make sense? So it's just
Bitcoin gets bought. That's all I care about.
They will own the Bitcoin. And that's the difference between the old ETFs and this current batch. The old ETFs were just pegged to future prices. They didn't own any Bitcoin. That was the whole thing. They're just indexes, really. These funds will own Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin. They will have to take Bitcoin into their fund.
Which is the best way to do it. It's like those triple inverse and those quadruple inverse ETF indexes that really just follow a spot price of the S&P or whatever it is. They're all fake and they're all inflated and they're deflated and they deflate to zero and they inflate to infinity. So now that can't happen again, which is great.
But a bunch of people have said, look, these guys are going to, they even use the term bend the knee. Yeah, they're going to, if the SEC says this is what we want, you're not arguing it. That's what you will do that. Then what they would do is down the road, they would petition for some kind of in-kind exit. So for instance, you could imagine people might want to enter this ETF and exit holding Bitcoin. So they may be
fine, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be a way to do that.
They're all leaving the door open for that. But the SEC right now is like, it's cash. That's it. Cash in, cash out.
Which I don't care if it's cash in, because then they have to go buy Bitcoin anyway to back it, and they'll have more cash to do that.
Yeah, and basically, I think Wisdom Tree had made their filing that said authorized participants acting on the authority of the registered holder of shares, means ETF shares, may surrender baskets in exchange for the corresponding amount of Bitcoin or cash. So basically, they're saying that they could exit. At least this is what Wisdom Tree is saying. Although, if you're reading what the SEC is saying, the SEC is saying no, dude. No, bro. So anyway, I think that's what the call was yesterday. I would guess the conference call was, listen, we got about 10 to 15 days left. If you want your fund to your ETF to launch, this is what you're going to do. If you don't, kick rocks. And so I'm sure there'll be a few more S1 filing amendments, and then off we go. And so we could get a decision as early as like the 5th of January. They don't have to wait till the 10th.
That's right. Any day now.
Yeah.
We should talk a bit of this maybe behind the wall, because this is speculative too.
Speculative. Okay.
The funds have to purchase the same way as we do on an exchange. So there's another question about this, about when funds are going to buy the Bitcoin. So we could talk about this after we get behind the wall.
The Bitcoin. Okay, so let's do that. Yeah. It's behind the wall time, bro. We'll get back there behind that wall. Oh man, you put your thing. You can't put your thing up yet.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
Yeah, but not yet. We got to go behind the wall, bro.
Neil, I hope you're listening.
Neil can wait.
We're going behind the proverbial wall now to continue the broadcast privately for the digital investors and digital private clients. If you'd like to join us, simply go to nickblacknext.com and subscribe to one of our plans and immediately take advantage of our library of tools, tactics, and information. It's all designed to help you learn, grow, and manage your portfolio like a pro. Join us now.